Welcome back to Hidden Harvest with Liz. Today, we are talking to Fred. He's a bell pepper. He likes long walks on the beach. He likes it to be warmer than 50 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius. Editing Liz, please take over with the Celsius stuff. I do freedom units, but here's Fred. I just wanted to do like a quick, because at one point I did do a video of preparing everything for the frost. And I was supposed to be doing these guys right here. I managed to get them done towards the end, but I don't think I ever showed them in the pots very well. And so yeah, as usual, I will link videos if I think here, or wherever they can be linked at for you guys to actually go back and watch that video, because that was a long, hard day's work. But as you can see, I had a bell pepper that I cut the extra limbs off, and I am overwintering this pepper. And because I've got a tiny bit of growth, which is not necessarily good because I actually want it to hibernate, Fred's trying to be extra. I actually need him to hibernate, but I cut him down to 3 different limbs so that I can get some more bush out of them for next year. But all in all, I think they're doing okay. Sadly, there was a collapse of my high tunnel, and during the storms, it didn't actually last through. It was like a couple of days of storms and high winds, and the high tunnel got taken out, so I had to move all of those plants indoors. I also have some cuttings from my fig tree that I'm still not even sure actually survived, because I think during that time they got overwatered. A whole lot of water went into the the high tunnel. So anyway, what we're actually talking about today is Christmas gifts for gardeners in your family, gardeners in your life, things that gardeners love to have for the holidays. And believe it or not, it's probably one of the best times. It is probably one of the best times to shop for a gardener. The reason being is you can find a lot of juicy, lucrative sales for outside, because this is the off season. Most people don't do a whole lot of growing and yard work during the winter time. This is the best time to go out. Even if all you're doing is shopping for yourself, the gardener in your life is yourself. It's a great time to shop. The Black Fridays sales that just happened, obviously, are a very good time. I hit a few of them up myself. I bought tons and tons of seeds for flowers, because during the main part of the year, I'm like, I need to spend every penny that I have, everything that I can, on the food stuff. And I would feel guilty if I spent any of that on any of like the flowers and making everything pretty. I would probably feel very guilty instead of investing all of that back into the food. Even though I know that the flowers are very, very important for the whole ecosystem of the garden, I would still feel kind of bad. Mainly because I also know that a lot of plants, like these right here, whenever they go to do the putting on blooms and then the peppers and the whatever, they do have flowers. There are not a whole lot of them, and they don't attract a whole lot of stuff that doesn't want to eat it. But flowers are very, very important. So yeah, I did a bit of shopping for flowers this year. I'm admitting that I bought a whole lot of flowers this year. Is there an AA for flower buyers? Maybe not. I'll be honest with you, until this year, whenever I grew my first sunflower, yes, this year after, I've got pictures of me planting gardens 10 years ago, smaller gardens, but 10 years ago, I didn't plant any flowers then. My gardens never did very well. I tried a ton of different ways of gardening, but I never actually concentrated on any of the flowers. But when I grew my first sunflower, I was like, that's just a breath of fresh air. It looks nice. And while it's cool getting the food, it was nice being able to look outside and see something that was pleasant. So, my first thing that I would say that would be really, really great for you to get for a gardener in your life, or possibly if you yourself are a gardener, is to go out and buy all of the seeds that you can that are going on sale right now. Because seeds are usually only kept for a year, they're sold the first year, and they tell you to use those. But on most parts, most seeds, they will last more than 1 year. So if you're catching a deal from a seed company or something like that, it's the best time to go ahead and get them, because you'll probably get like 4 or 5 packs for the price of one. Another thing is this is the perfect time for people who plant bulbs. If you do like tulips and all kinds of stuff like that, I'm not sure about your area, exactly what you can and can't plant, and whether or not bulbs will survive, but now might be the time to go ahead and start purchasing those. And some bulbs specifically have to go through a frozen cycle in order to work. So definitely take a look at those. Maybe consult the gardener in your life and go ahead and get some of those flower bulbs, because some of them have to go in the ground during the wintertime. So this is the perfect time to plant. Now, obviously, if you have a grower in your life, you might want to talk to them about the types of plants and do just a tiny bit of research. And believe me, that tiny bit of research will go a long way. Flowers, bulbs, things that they wouldn't normally get themselves. Something else that gardeners always can use more of: the little shovels, the little trowels, the little hand rakes, all of the little hand tools that a gardener uses. Even if they have a full set of them, chances are they could use a second set. Why? Because at least one of those is going to get lost every year. At least one of those is going to get eaten by a dog. At least one is going to get lost somewhere in the yard, and at least one is going to break. So all of those little hand tools that they use all the time is probably a good idea. Also, another great gift: gardening gloves. Gardening gloves, typically, if you get the really good kind, sort of good kind-ish, they'll last about 2 years, and that depends on how much they use them. Garden gloves are always a good one. Another thing that I can think of that gardeners could use practically any year, even if they have all of their usual tools and stuff, is labelers. Labelers for their plants. There are now some pens out there. I'll see if I can find some pictures for some of the things that I'm talking about. But there are UV pens that obviously they're going to need a few of them. They're going to get lost. They're going to get misplaced. They'll be put back in the wrong spot, or they will run out during a year. So some more UV pens for them to write their types of plants. Maybe even some homemade decor plant labelers would also be a very cool look, especially if you can find some that are in the design that you know that your gardener in mind actually likes. Like if they are a fan of, I don't know, chickens. Maybe they really, really like chickens. I do have family members that collect all things chicken. If you could find some that are actually like little designs that have little chickens on them or whatever, you could probably find just about anything whenever it comes to those types of labels. Those are some of the ideas that I was thinking of that anybody could give as a gift. Obviously, there are bigger gifts. If you are looking for significant gifts to get your significant other for the holidays, there is a big fad going on with raised bed gardens, especially if you have someone who used to garden a lot, that has like maybe issues that they're dealing with now, like with their back, their arms, or whatever. Raised bed gardening might be the way to get them back out into the yard and enjoying gardening again. So there's a lot of companies out there. You might want to start making like a cheap one out of wood that you can cover with like linseed oil or whatever in order to get it to last longer. Or you can invest in higher end ones like the Vigo garden beds, or the ones from the Birdie's beds. Those are on the high end, but are supposedly slated to last like 20 years. So you invest in them and you keep them for a long time. Obviously, make sure you keep track of the type, the size, well, let's just be honest, the raised beds take a lot of soil to fill them. And there's lots and lots of videos out there on how to fill those size beds. So if you're getting a gift that size, because the Birdie's beds, the Vigo beds, they're all very expensive beds. Keep in mind that in order to use those beds, you're going to have to put soil into them. There are ways that you could possibly help your significant other with those particular things if you've got some place that does bulk soil. Also, if you have like, I don't know, if you have someone who sells wood or something like that, or if you yourself have wood, or that's a weird way to phrase that. If you have limbs and branches and stuff like that you've cut during the fall, if you set those aside, you can actually fill up the Birdie's bed's bottoms with those particular things, therefore making it easier. There's lots of videos out there. Look up hugelkultur. I have no idea how to spell that. Okay, I can think of 2 people specifically, but then again, I say recently, it hasn't been recently that I saw these videos. Whenever I find a content creator that I like to watch, I go back and watch a year's worth of content on their stuff. So Epic Gardening, they have one, and then Self-Sufficient Me, I've watched them. Both of them actually have a stake in the Birdie's beds specifically. The Birdie's beds started out as an Australian product, and Epic Gardening brought it here. So both of them are affiliated with it, and I definitely recommend both of those channels. But Self-Sufficient Me is Australian, therefore they're going to have a different zone altogether. But if it can deal with the Australian outback, everything that it has to deal with over there, and it stands up to the test of time, and it deals with Epic Gardeners, they they are over in California. Plus, Epic Gardening, I think, is starting to do a conglomeration with other people in other zones, and I think a few of them also have the same beds. So I would say it's probably worth the investment. I personally have not bought one yet. I would like to. It's on the list of stuff and to-dos. The stuff of things and stuff to do, but that's one of the things that I plan on doing in the future. And if you are planning on getting a gift, and I do mean a significant size gift, those are not cheap, but they do last a long, long time. Also, if you are looking for other gifts of significant size, then the larger of the tools, which I guess you could say most of them are not that expensive, like pitchforks, shovels, rakes. Typically, somebody can go through a rake in about 5-ish years, depending on how they're treated and everything, but you never know. There could be different size rakes that they might need, different size shovels. If you go gallivanting down inside the garden shed, I'm pretty sure you can find at least one that's got a broken handle or a handle that's starting to fall apart, things like that. So those are always things. Also, if you can get things for, like when they kneel down, there's little paddings that you can get for while they're working in the garden, they're not hurting their knees. Aprons for them to carry their stuff around, those are good ideas. Baskets for them to carry their food back inside and their tools out, those are good ideas. There's lots and lots of ideas out there for Christmas for you to get for the gardener in your life. Plus, keep an eye out for the occasional thing whenever they're out in the garden. They say, this is my favorite, insert favorite thing, flower, plant, whatever. Maybe make it on the list of things that you include to get them for the next year. Like if they have a specific type of flower that they like, making sure that you grab an extra seed pack of those flowers to stuff into like a stocking or something. But those are my ideas for Christmas. I figured I would put this video out like at the beginning of the holiday. This is like right after Thanksgiving. So you've still got plenty of time to do all of your shopping. Those are my ideas. It was very, very rambly, but I hope I gave you some ideas for all of the things that you can get for your favorite gardener in your life. Also, if you personally are planning on getting into gardening for this next upcoming year, now is the perfect time to plan for that garden. So it would be the best time for you to go ahead and get your seeds, go ahead and get tools. These are going to be the best times that you can get those things on discount because it's the off season. So even if you're not planning on purchasing for somebody else, you're purchasing for yourself, you're getting yourself your own Christmas present, or just saying, this is the off season, I'm going to invest in things that would normally be very expensive for me to get. I'm going to get them now. Remember all of those things. Remember your flowers because those are very, very important. Remember to replace your tools. Remember to set up for next year if you're going to do new beds. If you haven't mulched your beds, if you need to get mulch, if you need to get fertilizer, now is the time to be getting those things. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys next time, and I hope you have a wonderful start of your holiday. I'll see you next time. You have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and you stay shiny.